Hey, it's Tuesday night, boys. Here we are again. What's happening? Good to be here. And who have we got in the room with us? Mexican Spec. Hey, welcome along, man. Sorry I missed you live the other night, man. I was well gone by the time that message came through. Gone as in asleep, but yeah. Kind of worked right through last weekend on the little sunbeam. So, and who we got? Buddy Caro Fano. We just call you Buddy, I think. Welcome along, man. Good to have you here. Who else we got in the room? Not too many. Quiet night tonight. Where's all the regulars? Paul Funk, welcome along. Thanks for reminding them about the like button. That certainly helps. Mexican Spec, are you on Top Chat? That's a good question. I am now on live chat. Thank you for reminding me. Josh Homan, welcome along. David Tyree, hi from sunny Nelson. It's always sunny in Nelson, isn't it? Nelson's a nice spot. For those that don't know, that's in New Zealand, the South Island of New Zealand. Beautiful. City? Is it a city or a big town? I'm not sure. It's a city, I think. But not a big place. Very nice. Beagle Bob, welcome along. Danny Boyd. Good to have you here, man. Roy Miller. Charles Dalton. Like button smash. Well done, brother. Well done. So, what's been going on? Well, what's going on at the shop? Hey, got that Fiero running today. Or actually, to be fair, it was Steve that got it running today. He put new injectors in it, and that thing came to life. About everything was wrong with it that could have been wrong with it. We had a bad fuel pump, bad injectors, bad everything in the ignition. Quite how that all goes wrong at once, I don't know, but it did. So look for a video on that. We'll probably do that video and go through the story of everything that went on with it tomorrow sometime and get that out in the next couple of days. Who else has dropped in here? Paul Funk had a weird dream about those giant worms down there in New Zealand. Yeah, I'm not sure about them. I've never seen one in person, but hey. Tim Miller made it on time. Good on you, bud. David Torrey, sunny most of the time. It's a city. Okay, we have and they have a cathedral. Oh, very fair, very posh. Chris Freemess is here. Welcome along. Todd Denio, hey man, good to have you here. It's been a while. Hope your health's all going as good as can be hoped for. So we figured you were under the weather a little, but yeah, good to have you here, man. How's that car of yours coming along? I guess tell us any news on that one. Who else we got here? Bear Rose Garage in the flesh, so to speak. Good to have you here, man. Good to have you here. How's that car of yours coming on? That's going to be pretty cool, that thing. Charles Dalton, looking forward to the vid on the Fiero. I've been curious. Thank you. Yeah, it's between getting parts and we went to put a heater core in it. That was actually it wasn't too bad. We kind of heard, had a few people reacting, go, oh my God, that's terrible, but it really wasn't too bad. I've had front engine, rear drive cars with much worse heater cores than that one. So yeah, it really wasn't too bad. Andy Nichols here. Well, I can't speak for everybody, but I'm good, mate. So yeah. Mexican Spec, Chris Freemess. I'm okay. The truck will arrive in Florida tomorrow or the next day. It's almost done. Very nice. Stephen Bunky Bird. Hey, welcome to the chat, man. good to see you and Steve yesterday. Yes, Mr. Bunkybird came for a visit to the shop yesterday, so that was cool. Got the guided tour, of the little wee workshop, and got to see some stuff in the flesh. So yeah, it was good. It was pleasant little break from the grind. Mexican spec. Chris Freemason took more emails and messages than I thought, but the customs agent sent a bill to the client for $400. No tariff. Nice. Well, that's cool. Mostly old parts. Hi, Kiwi. Hope all is well. All is well. Yeah, all is well. I'm nursing a horribly sore neck at the moment, but other than that, it's all good. Went to the chiropractor today, but still freaking hurting. But anyway, it's all the acrobatics of getting under cars, and I guess. But yeah. Also part of getting a bit older too, isn't it? It's just things start to ache and hurt. Never had a sore neck before though, but hey, always something. Chris Freemason, no tariff is super nice. Let's hope it's not super nice. Let's hope it stays that way. Yeah. Well, didn't they just find that Trump's tariffs are unconstitutional or illegal or something like that. So it's going to be interesting. Todd and I still have the respiratory crud going on, but the Marlin is home and I'm too sick to get out and do anything on it. Well, that's frustrating, I'm sure, but hey, at least you can peer out and have a look at it. So that's cool. Mexican spec. Todd and I, you can go sit behind the wheel and make engine sound. I do. What do you sit in Mexican spec and make the engine noises? I'm guessing it's a Mopar of some description. Tim Miller, can you post the comments in chatting? Not sure what you mean, mate. Sorry. Barrow's Garage. I bought a cheap set of factory C2 Corvette reskin seat covers for the Corvette. Nice. Not an exact match, but since they are black and this is a ratty build, they actually work. There you go. There you go. Wildman 318, just checking in from northeast Pennsylvania. There we go. Welcome along. Driveway of Misfits. Read an article today about the increasing number of Kiwis leaving New Zealand to live elsewhere. Any thoughts? Any thoughts? Man, yeah, New Zealand's got its problems. New Zealand does have its problems, but so does every country. There's wherever there's politicians, there's problems. But yeah, they've got some issues. New Zealand always has had. It's a very small place, physically relatively big, but population is very small, which makes throws in a bunch of So it's a small economy. So we're at the at the mercy of a lot of the other economies in the world. But yeah, they're having a lot of gang troubles. The law enforcement is certainly not as tough as it is here in the States. And they've now apparently there is officially more gang members than there are police. So the police are outnumbered just by the gangs on their own. So yeah, it's. I also heard there's quite a few Americans moving to New Zealand. So yeah, I don't know. Not saying that that was incorrect. A lot of Kiwis do live in Australia. A lot of Kiwis migrate out to Australia and like it there. It's very easy to get in there, of course. I think there'd probably be more Kiwis here in the States if it was easier to get in, but it's not easy to get in. Mexican spec. Are you guys still in winter? Doesn't the clock change this weekend? Pass. Not sure who you're talking to there, Mix. Paul Funk, glad you got the Marlin, Todd. Yeah. It was kind of cool to have cool for someone to have some car they've dreamed about for so long kind of come to fruition. Barracuda. I'm sorry to be the cause of any weird dreams. Well, I'm sure you've caused a few weird dreams in your years, Mr. Cooter. Yeah. 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 Charles Dalton, Todd and I, great news on the Marlin. Hope you shake that infection quickly. Yeah. Yeah. It's probably still pretty cold up where you are anyway, so you're probably better off indoors anyway, Todd. But yeah, hopefully you get it get all that behind you by the time that it warms up a little bit up there. It's getting warm down here, man. We're in the 70s like all week, which is quite pleasant. Quite pleasant. I think we hit like 78 or 9 at the end of the week, which is pretty warm for March. Mostly old parts. Kiwi, I thought about you the other day when I cut both quarters, trunk floor, tail light panel, and rear crossmember out of the car. LOL, I feel your pain. That's a lot of cutting. Yeah, that's a lot of structure going out of that car. Hope you got it all jacked up nicely and leveled and trued as best you can. David Tyree, sore neck. Those key positions will do that. Man, I'll be in trouble if it's that because Mrs. Kiwi's been back in New Zealand for the last week and a half. So, no, it's nothing like that. Yeah, don't know what did it actually, but yeah, it's irritating to say the least. Like it's sore enough that when I got to drive a bit slower because if I can't go scooting around corners like I usually do, that actually hurts my neck. That side load, your head wants to push one way if you're going around corners. And I'm not talking quick, just at a reasonable pace. It's like, oh no, that's hurting. I got to slow down. So yeah, that kind of sucks. I wouldn't want to be doing a spirited drive on Tail of the Dragon right to this moment. I could not do it right now, but hey. Mexican spec, I sit in my 63 Fury that I've had since 1982. She was my first car. 63 Fury. I had, when I was in my teens, I had a 63, not a Fury, but a 63 Plymouth. And previous to that, I had a 63 Dodge. The Dodge was a 330, just 318 poly. Both of them were 318 polys, but cool cars. Four-door sedans, because that's kind of all we really got in New Zealand. But 63 Fury, that'd be nice. That'd be very nice. Danny Boyd, I poked my head in my dent side yesterday and put a new tarp over my Fox convertible. There you go. See, something's going. You're doing something. Steve Milne. So which power plant is the baby Cobra getting? Windsor or LS? Definitely a Windsor. Definitely a Windsor. Thought about the LS. I did, but just kind of had to stay true to the roots of the car, which I don't know. I guess that's a fairly loose interpretation because that particular car never had a V8. It was a four-cylinder. The Tiger got the V8, but I guess I'm keeping it in the spirit of the Tiger. Really just building what the Tiger could have been. Todd and I, with this respiratory crud, I already sound like a V16 running on 3 cylinders. Oh, that's never good. That's never good. Danny Boyd, Island Boys. Island Boys? Barracuda, that's long-term ownership. I expect my 71 VH Valiant has been a family member since 1980. Yeah, 82, that's a long time, isn't it? 82, that's 20, 40, 44 years. Wow. And what was my first car? My first car was a Fiat Bambina, 2-cylinder, 500cc, little Italian shitbox, really. There was quite a bit of money now, but would I ever dreamt of keeping that car for the last 40 4 years? No. But a Plymouth 63 Fury, that's a car worth hanging on to. That's very cool for a first car. Yeah, if I'd had a car like that as my first car, I probably would have tried to keep hold of it too. But yeah, not many people do. Life gets in the way. So good on you for putting it in a corner and yeah. Mexican spec. I had it for a few weeks. It's easier to get over in warmer weather. You're right. Yeah. Yep. Mexican spec. I'm sitting here sweating. Yeah, and I lost where I was up to. Yeah, there we are. Sitting here sweating. What do we got? Tim Miller, crashed my first car at 16, a 69 Barracuda. Rolled it 3 times. Was not a corner, not smack. No, rolling them 3 times will tear them up pretty good. Chris Freemasser, yeah, friends of my wife moved to New Zealand. They seem to really love it there. I suspect they won't be the last. No, there's people are moving. There's things that are better in New Zealand. Absolutely, yes, there is. There's things that are worse too. It's just what. It's what pushes your buttons, what floats your boat. And where in New Zealand they are has a big bearing on it. But yeah. Mexican spec, Barracuda. Yes, I've had her all these years and brought her to Mexico from the US. She smells like my youth. Yeah, well, that's probably a question better left unanswered. Todd deny a Mexican spec. I don't like a temperature over 70. Well, no, I like 70. I like 70. 75, yeah, it's good. Danny Boy, did you drive it there? That's a good question. Mexican spec. Tim Miller, I was an old man when I was a teenager. I never messed around with cars and never chased speed. There you go. Mexican spec. Tim Miller, I also never touched drugs or alcohol back then or now because the cars are more important to me. It's all about priorities, isn't it? All about priorities. Todd Denier, Kiwi today is a nice balmy 28. Oh, it's a bit cold, mate. It's a bit cold. Mostly old parts. I lost count at 300 spot welds. Yeah, I've been drilling a few of those myself, man, on that Alpine. Yeah. Just the inner fenders was like 110 spot welds holding those on. And then they had to pull some of the bracing off the inner fenders as well. That was more spot welds. But yeah, it gets a bit old. You got to keep plenty of lube on the spot weld cutter. That's for sure. Mexican spec, no. Okay, no. She'd been sitting behind my dad's house for 20 years in Las Vegas, so she was transported to the border, then down here. Wow. Well, good place to have it stored, Vegas. I'll bet that's a really solid car too, isn't it? I'll bet. Danny Boyd, I renewed my tags today and will be taking a bus to attempt to renew my driver's license tomorrow. Vision test. There you go. Yeah. Well, hopefully that'll pan out for you. Charles Dalton, it's 69 here right now. Oh wait, that's my thermostat. Never mind. Take a step outside for 10 minutes and then come talk to us again. Tell us what's happening out there. Mexican spec. When I got her here, I put gas in the car, but she started right up. No leak in the radiator or fuel system. Wow. She is a trooper. 361 big block with the push button 727. Very nice. That'll be a nice car. I seem to remember seeing a picture of it somewhere. I don't know whether you sent them to me or I saw it on your Instagram or what. Yeah. Bear Rose Garage, yeah. All of the former British colony nations, British colony nations are very hard to immigrate to the USA. Years ago, my fiance was from Brunei, was deported back to Borneo. She lives in Australia now. Wow. Yeah, well, the British and the Americans haven't always been best of friends, have they? Let's be honest. Beagle Bob, good luck, Dan. Yeah, good luck, indeed. Jenny Boyd, Mexican speak, is that the one the cartel guy ran into? Oh, no. Really? What's that about? Ricky Falk, 6656. Is that a poly head for the thumbnail, Chris? Yes, that's my poly head, or one of them off Large March. With two big cracks in it. So I dropped a couple of other heads up there last week, and waiting to hear the diagnosis on those. Hopefully, out of 4 heads, we can get 2. Didn't know that cracking was a thing on those poly heads. But yeah, they had some pretty mean cracks on it. I suspect it was probably due to heat. That engine had gotten pretty hot. It had it had melted down the side of one of the pistons from detonation, I think. But yeah, it had those. What did they call them? Those little oil guard things that you'd screw into the head and then put the plug into those, and it shielded the plug and helped stop anti-foulers, or something they were called. Stop the plugs fouling up, but they also make the combustion chamber run very, very lean. So yeah, I think that may have, and one of them, like when we left Vegas in Large March, we got 20 minutes out of town, and it melted the tips off 3 spark plugs and actually burnt the plug wire. The spark plugs got so hot that the plug wires burnt off them. We had to put new plugs in and new wires as well because they got that hot. I wouldn't be surprised if those cracks were fairly directly related to that. Mexican spec, Danny Boyd. No, he ran into me into the Mexican 63 Savoy. Yeah. How did that end? Obviously, didn't end too badly. You don't want to get hit by someone. You just say thanks very much and waved him goodbye, or like how did that kind of incident go down? Did he pay for the damage, or was it that he ran into you? So I'm guessing it was his fault. Did he pay for the damage, or just say adios? Todd and I still have my 63 Dodge 440 4-door sedan with 318 poly. Yeah, well, I think that would be pretty much identical car. The 440 had a little more trim. The 330 was kind of like an Aussie New Zealand spec, very minimalistic, very, very little bling of any type. So yeah, because it was New Zealand, they just wanted the car. They weren't after any bling. Tim Miller, youngest brother drag stripped at tracks in Kansas City area. I think wrongly at teen, crashing Mopars. 2 started driving Ford Broncos and Mustangs. There you go. Ooh, where did that go? Yeah. I lost my spot. Again. There we go. Andy Nickel, I had a 62 Plymouth Belvedere hand-me-down from Big Brother. I got T-boned by a drunk And that was it for the Plymouth. That sucks, doesn't it? It sucks. Ricky Falk, my first was a 65 Belvedere 383 4-speed. Nice. Loved that car and wore it out. Yeah. Wow, that's awesome. Cool story. Danny Boyd, plus I have to walk like 3 miles to catch the right bus. Well, that sucks. Danny Boyd, 77 Olds Vista Cruiser. Okay, those are neat. Todd Denio, I screwed up and passed on a 63 Sport Fury I could have gotten with 2 parts cars for $100 from a family friend. Oh, my goodness. How long ago was that, though? Was that like 2 weeks' wages back then? $100, isn't that crazy? Wow. Mexican spec. Andy Nickel, there is a 62 Savoy 2-door sedan for sale here. It is a slant 6 manual car. Could be a NASCAR tribute car. There you go. That would be kind of cool. Mexican spec. Danny Boyd, we have Uber and Didi here. I haven't heard of Didi. Costs like $3 US to get across town. Wow. Yeah, that's a bit cheaper than here. Andy Nickel, cool. Not looking for any cars at the moment. Oh, well, yeah. Mexican spec. Kiwi, my Fury has a certain smell inside from her carpet and seats. That's what I meant. Yeah. Yes, I didn't think you meant meaning anything untoward, I'm sure. But yeah, no, the old cars have an old car smell for sure. Yeah. Yep. Barry Cooter, I wish I still had the girlfriend I had in 82, but only if she's in exactly the same condition. Yeah, well, newsflash, she's not. She's not. There's have a few miles under her belt, just like we all do. So, yeah, that's a pipe dream, I'm afraid. Chris Freemes, a Mexican spec. Air-cooled VWs are known for having a specific smell to them, a mix of Tazoline and the coconut hair that the seats are stuffed with. Oh, good Lord, really? Huh. Didn't know that. Mexican spec. Todd Denai, yes, that would have been good. The Sport Fury was the top of the line, but with a floor. I like the buttons. They win races. There you go. Automatics change quicker than a manual. Mexican spec. I bet they do. I bet the smell is different here. Tim Miller, add tubing to Sunbeam like to the back. Yeah, I'm going to. Yep. No, I've already got. The plans are in place for that. Yeah, they'll be effectively like subframe connectors, really. But yeah, we're going straight from the front chassis rails, and to the whichever rear suspension we end up putting in it. So yeah, no, definitely, absolutely. You got it. You mean on a little convertible like that, you've got to have it. Mexican spec just posted a 2003 Beetle for my Canadian friends. There you go. Okay, Mexican spec. Don't have any pictures of my Fury on social media. She's camera shy. I also have a white Mexican 63 Savoy. Maybe it was that one. Maybe it was. I do kind of remember it being white. So it was probably the one I saw. Chris Freemason, Mexican spec. Do they not have a 25-year rule up there like we do here? What's the 25-year rule here? Not familiar with that one. Joseph Sott, the 429 you had, what do you do with it? What did you do with it? I don't remember having a 429. I'm not sure what you're asking there, bud. I'm sorry. Mexicans, Todd Denier, Mexican spec, the 63 Sport Fury had push buttons on the dash and had a console on the floor. Nice. But so what did the console? Console was just a console, nothing in it? That wouldn't have had a shifter in the console as well, would it? That wouldn't have been factory then, surely. Mexican spec, it is 15 years there. Okay. Not sure what you guys are chatting about there. 15 and 25 years. Danny Boyd, I like the 64 Sport Fury. Yeah, well, I think they're all pretty nice. I wouldn't say no to any of those. Danny Boyd, change that to a 63 and you can join the club. Old timer F. Kiwi, how's things, bud? Yeah, they're good. They're very good. They're very good. Yeah. I saw your comment the other day. You've been real busy with a new job or something. So how's that all going? Charles Dalton, like others have written, good luck tomorrow, Dan. Yeah, indeed. We'll all be waiting for next Tuesday to see whether you pulled it off or not. Buddy Caro fan, dropping car off at shop for a new convertible top way above my skill level. The convertible tops on the older car is a skill. It definitely is to make them work nice. It's something you've got to have done, quite a few to get good at them. No, that was probably a wise call. Mexican speak, the cartel guy promised to pay, but it was a lying sack of crap. Yeah, well, you wouldn't want to send the cops after him, would you? Or try and sue him or something. That would be it is what it is. You live to tell the tale. That'd be, I don't know, is that like being a bit overly dramatic, or so some of the TV shows you see, like they'll shoot you just for being in their way when they crashed into you and it was their fault. So I don't know. Danny Boyd, Mexican spec. Jay Leno featured a 66 Duesenberg, a prototype, I think, and it had a 413 and a 727. Wow. Kerosene cucumbers. Welcome along. Good to have you here, man. Mexican spec. Todd Denial. I bought my Fury from the original family that bought it. It was used from 63 to 77 and then parked. I bought it in 1982. That's very cool. Barracuda. Are you serious? There was a Plymouth Savoy in New Zealand officially registered as a Plymouth Savaloy. Now, there's going to be a whole lot of people going, what's a Savaloy? So now, Barracuda, you can share what a Savaloy is now. Old timer F7602. Plymouth, bah, don't like Plymouth, mate. Goodness me. Todd and I passed on the 63 Sport Fury about 25 years ago because I didn't have a place to put it. Yeah, that's frustrating, isn't it? Well, yeah, it's just the way it was. I mean, I guess $100 was just, you got nowhere to put it. What are you going to do? Old timer. My father had a 67 Galaxy 500 XL, dark metallic green, white leather, nice, 390 console auto. Very nice. Oh, no. Brother wrapped it around a pole on high school graduation night. Oh, dear. That sucks. Was he okay? Steve Sadusky, hello, Kiwi N Group. Well, welcome along, sir. Good to have you here. Lumpy, hello, welcome along. Chris Freeman, a car 25 years old or older is not required to meet US safety emissions standards to be imported into the country. Right. Huh. Steve Sadusky, the live is frozen on my end. Okay. My little thing's saying I'm live, which it doesn't. If it freezes, it'll say that it's not live anymore. Hopefully that's your end and not my end, sir. Dean Stevenson, hey, welcome along, bud. Todd Denio, I love the 63 Sport Fury roofline and front end. It's pretty nice. Matthew Ward, howdy Kiwi and everyone else. Welcome along. Good to have you here. Todd Denio, come on people, hit that like button. Yeah, hit the like button. Just hammer away on it. Dean Stevenson, oh, here we go. Acronyms again. DWOMFS. I don't know what that means. My brain's not working well enough to decipher that. All others I can't say hi to because loading a twat. Steve Sadusky, has anyone else experienced the live being frozen? I don't know. Todd Denio, live isn't freezing here. It's being taken over by advertisements. Sorry about that, guys. No, hopefully it's bad that you're having problems, Steve, but he probably can't hear me anyway if it's frozen. Paul Funk, I saw the video on the 66 Duesenberg too. I really like the old Cord Auburns and Duesenbergs. They are very cool. They are very cool. Mexican speak. Steve Sadusky, it isn't freezing here. Refresh it and see if that helps. Todd Denio, Plymouth Savoy was a Savoy with a 318 poly. Oh. Not quite. Old timer Kiwi, yes, my idiot brother was fine. He was lucky my father didn't end his existence. Oh no. Yeah, that's unfortunate, isn't it? But yeah, I think a lot of us have totaled cars over the years that we wish we hadn't, but yeah, I know I do. Barracuda, I'd love to have a 65 Plymouth Max wedge like in my photo. Yes, agree. Belonged to Californian Mopar restorer Bob Mosher. His son stole it, crashed it into a tree at 140. Totally wrecked. I bet it was. Wow. Did he survive? Be impressive if he did at 140. Bud, 1814, bought a Belvedere 2, slant 6, 3 on the tree, driving for $300 a few years ago. Wow. Nothing wrong with that. Phil Dodge Fury, welcome along, man. DWOMF, Driveway of Misfits in Denglish. Driveway of Misfits. Okay. I think you have told me that already once before, but my brain's just... brain's a couple of cylinders down. I got a neck that is really distracting. It's hurting. I have to slow down the bourbon a little bit. I'm knocking that back a bit faster than I need to. Paul Funk, I think some of the Auburns or Cords had fiberglass bodies. Really? Didn't know that. Whole time I have told the story here about how I couldn't afford a 63 Dodge with a 413 cross ramp. Wow. Factory race car, I was told. 2,200 back in 1990. Might as well have been 220,000. I had a 5.0 to pay off. Yeah, there you go. Yeah, if that was a factory race car, that'd be worth a lot more than $2,200 today. A lot more. Anything with that racing heritage, racing provenance is big money today. Barracuda, Savoy was on the window registration card. A Savoy is like a hot dog sausage, I think. You think? Okay, a Savoy is a little like a hot dog sausage, except it's quite spicy, and typically not eaten in a in a hot dog bun. It's just eaten on its own, typically with ketchup or tomato sauce, as we like to call it. But yes, and nothing to do with cars in any way. But yeah, Savoy, Savoy, yeah, there's only 1 litre difference. Well, okay, 2, I can't count. Todd Dono, a guy here has a 64 or 5 Belvedere with a blown 426 crate Hemi in it. Nice. Joseph Zott had a 70 Challenger RT 426 TQ, only push button radio, nothing else. That thing moved. I bet it did. The Holes is in the house. Welcome along. He started to speak and then changed his mind. Old Timer also passed on a 63 Grand Prix. 4-speed for $400. Ouch. Needed a frame. Big job. 8 lug rims. Wow. Body was solid and the frame was gone. Wow. That's a little. Oh well. $400. Yeesh. Oh, NH car. NH, New Hampshire. Mexican spec. I passed on a 61 Chrysler Windsor with a big block and a factory stick shift. Wow. I wanted the push button. I was young and stupid. Factory stick shift. That's a very unusual combination, isn't it? In a Chrysler Windsor. Wow. That'd be a cool car. The Holes, Kiwi, random question. Have you ever messed around much with the old school carburetor synchronizing gauges? They sort of measure airflow because I see they've come right down in price. No, I haven't actually. It's very similar to a vacuum gauge, but vacuum gauge doesn't typically tell you, on multiple carburetors. It just tells you the vacuum across all of them. That was a very essential tool with like the old the British SU carburetors, which were a side draft odd carburetor, single choke, not like a side draft 2-barrel Weber, but single choke side draft, and they had a butterfly, and then they also had like a I can't remember what they called it, but like a piston that it created like a variable Venturi effect in the carburetor. So you'd open the butterfly, and the more the air sucked through, the more this little piece would lift up out of the way and let more air in. And it was all to do with keeping airspeed up through the carburetors to create better atomization. And they work quite well, but most people these days just don't even know what they're looking at when they see them. Jaguar ran them a lot. A lot of the little British sports cars had them. Even just Morris Minors and stuff. I think some of them had SUs on. But yeah, no, I hadn't been looking at them enough to notice it or at all to see what they'd come down in price. But probably a handy little gadget to have for multiple carbs for sure. Barracuda. Apparently the guy was completely okay, which is amazing. Yes. I've never seen a more written off looking car. Wow. Volfly manometers. Is that what they call them? Manometers. Welcome along, Volfly. Good to have you here. What's for dinner tonight, man? Chris Freemess. I think we all have a car or two in our past that we wish we'd have bought but didn't. Yeah. I think what mine would have been. Yeah, it's been a few. Of course, buying desirable cars in New Zealand was, much more of a challenge because there just wasn't many of them. But yeah. Now, Steve's Osgood. I modded my carb to burn bourbon. What is wrong with you? Volfly survived the chiropractor. Mate, I've been to the chiropractor today. My neck is killing me. Like it's really hurting. Yeah, so they gave me some laser treatment on the back of my neck, like all up around here, which got quite hot, and it did feel better for a couple of hours. But yeah, it's back at full song again right now, I can tell you. Steve, what did my carb to burn bourbon? You realise how much bourbon is a gallon? Don't think it's a good plan. Paul Funk, wish I still had my 74 Bronco. Yeah, I still wish I had my XB Falcon panel van. That's probably one of the cars I wish I still had, that I had in New Zealand. Old timer Kiwi, I discovered Traveller whiskey, Buffalo Trace, partnered with Chris Stapleton. Excellent sipper, half gallon, 1500 mils, 44.80. Well, that's pretty good. So 1.5 litre. Nice. Barracuda, Savaloy spicy. Yeah, they are. It's more of a peppery sort of, like black peppery kind of spice to them, not like jalapeno spice. Vilefly chicken Alfredo tonight. Well, that's very nice. Aren't we going all up market? Vilefly's getting fancy on us. Charles Dalton, strangest one I ever let away, Porsche 944. It was perfect and I could afford it. Issue was it was too perfect. I knew I'd be afraid to drive it, which means what's the point? Yeah, there's some of that. Vilefly, dry needle treatment. Okay, I haven't had that. This is my first trip there today. An electro massage thingy. Yeah, okay, I didn't have either of those. It was some laser. I could see the brightness of it, like, because obviously he was behind me, the guy doing the back of my neck. And you could tell when he was doing it. You could also feel it. You could see it, but you could feel it. It was got quite warm. And yeah, it was definitely gave me some relief, but unfortunately it only lasted a couple of hours. Buddy Carr. Buddy, we're just going to call you Buddy Carr because you've got too many syllables in that name. I hate when someone has a cool car rotting away in their yard but won't sell it. Yeah. Yes, there's one like that not on the way on the kind of one of the main roads down to Alabama from Tennessee, and guy's got a bunch of old cars here, and he's got a '69 Charger, like on the fence line in front of his house on the main road, and I saw it, and like when I first got to Tennessee, which was pretty much the first 12 months I was in Tennessee anyway, so that was 2012. And it's still there today. And I stopped, saw the charge and stopped and went and had a look at it, inquire about it. But when you actually got up on it, there was a sign on it saying, "Do not inquire about this car." He's obviously sick of people knocking on his door. But I mean, he had it right on the main road, and stupidly, I just thought, I'll be the guy that walks up there and knocks on the door and he sells it to me. I was probably the 4,000th person to ask him, but I was all enthusiastic and sort of charging. But yeah, it's very annoying when people sit on these cars and they just get worse and worse and worse. Mexican spec, who is this Alfredo guy? Andy Nickel, I've got a few guitars in my past I wish I hadn't sold, like my Hagstrom Swede. Like a Les Paul. Some of them are worth just telephone numbers, aren't they? Todd and I are old timers. Have you ever been to the Buffalo Trace distilleries? No. They have samples of different bourbons, even in the early stage known as the White Dog. Been to Jack Daniels more than once, like several times. And that's a cool place to go for a visit. Huge, man, they make some product. Like they make some Jack Daniels. Phew. The warehouses they've got, unbelievable. Volfly, just some Italian dude. There you go. Andy Nickel, but you're a luthier, so you can make your own, right? Yeah, possibly not as well, but maybe he could. I don't know. Steve Osgood, I passed on a beautiful 72 Corvette convertible, no hit car back in the mid 80s. Nice. Old timer Todd, no, I would probably drown. There you go. Volfly. Sounds like a localized heating laser, like the microwave gun they use for specific muscle heating. Yeah, I can't remember what he did. Yeah, I can't remember what he said it was. But yeah, it definitely warmed me up, and I did start to cross my mind. I'm thinking, yeah, wow, that's pretty hot. At what point does it start to cook you? Probably a fine line. Yeah, it was getting towards being uncomfortably hot, but not so close as I was ready to say something. But that did go through my mind. Like, at what point do they start to cook you? Like, which I'm sure wouldn't be good. Andy Nickel, I don't really make electric guitars much, but I could if I wanted it bad enough. But I have a Strat now, and that's enough for electric. There you go. Stratocaster, I guess you mean. Todd Deny, old timer, that would only happen if you hit it at their shift change. Okay. Paul Funk, or they have a cool car with a tree growing through it, and the owner says they're going to start working on it tomorrow. Yeah. Joseph Sott, 352, 390, 406, 427, same block. Same family of block. I don't know that it's the same. I know the 352 and the 390 share the same block. If you pull a 390 apart, you'll usually find Ford 350 or 352 cast into the block. And the 390 was just a longer stroke, 352. But you get into the plus 400 motors, I think the blocks were different because the bores were bigger. But definitely the same family, the FE. Tim Miller, I've been looking at waterborne PPG cleaner jobs and make no mistake. And made no mistake. Waterborne's the way of the future, there's no doubt about it. To my knowledge, they still haven't come up with a water-based clear coat though. It's all the waterborne's all base coat. I've heard kind of mixed reviews on what it's like to put on, and it's a different technique. It goes on and changes color a lot as it dries. So the collision guys, the collision painters, a lot of them, can push back pretty hard because they can't see very quickly whether they're getting their color match right. You've really got to wait for it to properly air out, or the moisture to evaporate off to actually see what color it's going to end up as. And that some of the old boys are a bit stuck in their ways. I probably fall in that category as well, but I don't paint. So, but yeah, waterborne. It's for better or for worse, it's the way of the future. Old time Andy Nickel, I met and hung out with Phil Kubicki, started Fender Custom Shop for Leo. He was going to build me an acoustic, but he passed away before he could. He'd only built 2 acoustics. Wow, that's a pretty cool story. One for Joni Mitchell, the other for his ex-wife. Wow. Paul Funk, 427 blocks are side oiling. Some are, not all of them. There's a 427 side oiler and a 427 regular oiler as well. And I've laid hands on both. So yeah, there is a difference. They're not all side oilers. Side oilers are very desirable, absolutely, but they made a regular one as well. Andy Nickel, ouch, I would make it way better, LOL. Barracuda, oh, it's joke time. Have you heard the joke about the 16-year-old girl with a lisp getting a physical examination from her doctor? Oh, goodness me. Driveway of Misfits, you've told this joke before. Really? I don't remember. Mexican spec. Yes, but not here. Oh, I see. Volflight. I know nothing of the Ford 406. Yeah, it's not a common engine, but it's a thing. I pretty think it is. Might be tricking myself there. Gosh. Have another bourbon. I'll be fine. Don't worry about me. Todd Denier, Volfly. My brother had a 61 Starliner with a 62 406 swapped into it. That land yacht went like hell. So the 406 was a Ford motor. You kind of had me second guessing myself there, Volfly. Now, Barracuda. I don't know many jokes, Chris Freeman. So interesting, says Volfly. See, Andy Nickel, a lot of guitar builders are using water-based. They've gotten a lot better in the last few years, and they do make clear coat, which doesn't yellow, but I don't use it yet. Oh, okay. I didn't know they were making a waterborne clear coat. I wonder if is that an automotive product, or is that just for like guitars or wooden products or something like that? I know they've been making like a water-based varnish or equivalent to a water-based varnish for quite a long time for woodworking use, but I wasn't aware that they'd done it for cars yet. Paul Funk, oh yeah, you are right, Kiwi. Sometimes, mate. I just never heard of that motor. Thought it was a 460 typo. Yeah, no, it was. I thought I remembered it. Not that I've ever actually dealt with one in person, because it wasn't the kind of motor you got down in New Zealand. The holes, Kiwi. A lot of old classics got ruined by rust because they were constantly parked outside, and under a tree is the worst because the leaves get into the sills and turn mush. And the sills turn mush, holds the moisture, story over. Yeah. Yep. That's hard, Ben. Like people talk about barn finds, they get all excited about barn finds. We found this old Camaro in a barn. Well, all that really means is it was in a barn, so it was protected from the trees, but not from the critters, because who wants to be in a barn in winter? Every critter out there. And the one place better than in a barn is in a car in a barn. So, soft, warm bedding, yeah, cars are great. Little cramped little nooks and crannies to get into where they're 100% safe from other predators, and perfect little condominium is like a 57, 58 Plymouth, whatever, and yeah, perfect condominium. Now, hang on, just drop behind a fraction here. Now, old timer here, we are talking about 60-plus-year-old engines, and any one of us can go finance a new 800 horsepower F-150 with a full factory warranty for under 60K. Can you really? I thought they were a bit more than that, but wow. 800 horse, so that's, wow. Didn't even know they were making an 800 horse 150, but I know they're making the one with the supercharged Coyote, but I didn't think that was 800 from the factory. Wow. Charles Dalton, yes, 406 was an early 60s Ford engine, about the same time as the Chevy 409. Right. Todd Denier, fun fact, the first American production vehicle available with an optional 400 horsepower engine was the 58 Lincoln Edsel and Mercury with the Super Marauder 430 engine. Wow. There you go. 400 horse. That was a lot of horsepower in 58. Man, in the 60s, 400 horse was a lot. 60s, 70s, 400 was a lot. But yeah, that was pretty impressive in 58. Tim Miller, I got a gallon of waterborne clear, glimmer clear, D8188. I got a guy airplane supplies for $100. Wow. There you go. Yeah, I haven't sort of done any painting for, since Barry left, really. So I've kind of dropped out of the loop, really. Barry Cooter, I think North Island Saveloys must be different to South Island Saveloys. I've never thought of them as being even slightly spicy. Really? Huh. That's the big ones, like as big as a regular sausage, full-size sausage, not the little, what do they call them? Polonies or something, the little wee ones, about 3 inches long. Those ones aren't spicy at all. But the Saveloys, like the, 5 inches long Saveloy, and, inch and a half in diameter. Taranaki, mate, I used to eat those. We get those every week, as a kid. And, they were spicy. Maybe as a 10 or 11-year-old, they seem spicy to me, but it's been a long time since I had one. Tim Miller, PPG just opened a store in Kansas City area. We didn't have one before. There you go. Mexican Speak, a whole timer. Who wants one of those anyway? Then the price would be much higher than that. Yeah, I think it would be more than 60. I do think so. Because the Mopar, the Ram, the Super Duper Ram truck, isn't that like 160K? That with the red eye Hemi in it. Someone told me they were 160. Oh, Kiwi, yeah, that was my buddy Kevin Tates. He had a brief look at one. Loved the truck, loved everything about it. Saw the price and went, no. So fair enough. Andy Nicol, as far as I know, it's for woodwork. It may not be suitable for auto. It may not be durable enough. Yeah, that's kind of why I asked, because the trouble with automotive clear is it's got to have so much UV protectant in it, because all the cars, you don't typically leave your guitar out in the sun all day, every day. So, it would do more than just hurt the varnish, wouldn't it? Or the clear coat. But yeah, I would, that I believe is the biggest problem they've been having with the waterborne clears, is the UV stabilization and just the durability of it. It doesn't get terribly hard. And it's another thing you don't do with a car, with a guitar, is run it through the car wash. So everyone's going to run their new cars through the car wash once a week and wear the waterborne clear off in a year. Old timer, Andy Nicol, I'm a logger. I can source and provide some very unique and amazing wood from NH, New Hampshire and Maine, including spruce, fir, or tonewood. There you go. That sounds kind of cool. Granddad's Junk will probably join us later in the thing. He usually comes in around 8:30ish, 8:30. He's got me some Remu from his own farm to make a dashboard for the Sunbeam Alpine, which is kind of cool. Mrs. K's over in New Zealand now, and she's bringing it back with her. So that's going to be very cool to have a little literally a slice of New Zealand in the car, because Remu is a native to New Zealand. So yeah, kind of looking forward to that. Hang on. Shot down the page again. Mexican Specs bowing out. Well, thanks for joining in, mate. Thanks for being here. Always good to have your presence here. So, yeah, thank you very much. Where are we up to here? Mopar man, evening, folks, mates and chaps. Joseph Azot, 406 I saw in a 63 Galaxy 500 guy I knew in Philly. There you go. Chris Freemes, I'm in New York and I'm a hobbyist woodworker, so send some of that lumber my way. There you go. Andy Nickel, thanks, old timer. I'll keep that in mind. I don't buy as much wood as I did in the past. Fair enough. Old timer. New York has everything we have. Ask a logger. There you go. Todd Denier, Kiwi, the 400 horsepower Super Marauder 430 was a 1 year only option. Oh, wow. I wonder why they dropped it. Did they go bigger again, or was it too expensive to make? Wonder why they dropped it after 1 year. Paul Funk, weren't some of the 406s tri-power? The tri-powers were surprisingly popular on those FEs. Seen a few of them around. So, yeah, no reason to believe the 406s wouldn't have had tri-powers as an option. I would say they almost definitely would have. Barry Cooter, from seeing so many cars with degrading clear coat, I decided long ago that if I'm painting a car in a solid colour, I'm only using single stage. Yeah, that's not a bad move. It's really not. You just have to buy a quality single stage. That's all. Don't buy the, anything really. Try not to buy the cheapest you can get. And stay away from red. That is the colour to degrade. Of all the colours that are out there, red is the worst for degrading, and that's also why it's the most expensive colour. You go to PPG or any of the automotive paints places, the reds will be the most expensive, and by a bit. Old timer. Okay, I want to have an acoustic made from ash and flame yellow birch as the top. Wow, that sounds pretty awesome. Charles Dalton, yes, 3 2-barrel setups were available. Yeah, I would have thought so. Todd saying the same thing. Andy Nickel, old timer. So aside from Adrian X spruce, we have some of the best spruce here in Canada, northern British Columbia. Wow. Adrianic spruce. Wow. Sounds fancy. Tim Miller 1.5 price for Ram. Woo! Yeah. Crazy, isn't it? Very good. Like most other things, Savaloys aren't as big as they used to be. Ain't that the truth, brother? Ain't that the truth? Barry, no, hang on. Sorry, Todd Denier. Famoco also made a 410 cubic inch offered in Mercury and Edsel. There you go. Old timer. Google supercharged F-150 Stripper XL from around 60K. Fair enough. That's a cheap. Well, cheap's maybe not the right term, but that's if they're 800 horsepower, that's a lot of truck for 60K. That's a lot of truck, even in a Stripper XL. Stripper, I guess that means stripped down, like not too many add-ons. Beagle Bob, I believe he is talking about the dealer-installed option of a blower on the Coyote, something like 12 or 15K added onto the truck price. The Raptor is going to be absurdly priced like the TRX. Kind of what I thought. Okay. No, that makes sense when you say it that way, Bob. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, you can get an $800. I think Roush make $800, 800 horsepower blower kit conversion, because that Casper Mustang that I've got in the shop, they're talking about putting that. They sent me the link to it. So what do you think about this? And there, I think from memory it was a Roush, and yeah, they're quoting 810 horse out of a Coyote, that's a lot. 800 horse is a lot. Andy Nickel, old timer. Neither of those woods are considered tone woods. I could definitely build one. I would strongly recommend different wood that would sound much better. I never thought about the wood that you were making. I thought, shows what I know. I thought the wood was just about the aesthetics, the look of the instrument. But different woods create a different sound. Wow. You learn something every day. Todd Denier, all new vehicles are insanely expensive. Yes, yep, agreed. Paul Funk, what type of wood do they use to build houses in New Zealand? Pine. Pine pretty much exclusively, certainly for framing and all that sort of stuff, just regular pine. You know, it's the fastest growing option out there. And they use a bit of cedar for cladding. That sort of comes and goes in popularity. Yeah, pine. A lot of plastic weatherboarding. Andy Nickel, but we should talk about cars. Oh, well, yeah. Well, we have talked about cars a bit. Some Tuesdays it's like we hardly even mentioned cars. So we're doing not bad tonight. We've had a bit of talk about cars. Kevin Johnson, good to catch you here. Well, good to have you here, mate. Hope Marge is moving along. Well, the engines, it's coming along kind of. Got pistons ordered, they're specials. The blocks board, 30 over, cleaned it up. Waiting on the special pistons because we're putting the 4-inch stroker crank out of an LA engine, not a poly, which goes straight in. We just got to make an adapter to put the cast iron torque converter onto it. Because the cast iron torque converters have studs in that little 6-bolt pattern that you normally bolt the flex plate on. There's a difference in the back of the crank. So we've got to make a little adapter for that, and we'll have a 390 3-speed torque flight cast iron transmission behind it, and hopefully not going crazy with the engine or anything like that. Just more cubic inches. Just realistically, just a more sensible size engine for that size of car. The 318 was okay, but not really any more than okay. So yeah, hopefully she'll be a brisk performer once we should get it up to around 400 horse and make it fun to drive. Volfly, on a tangent, I did a search for the Taurus SHO 3-litre engine made by Yamaha. There are none anywhere. Kind of funny. I was thinking of stuffing one in a Taurus station wagon, but the motor is extinct. Oh, really? Wow. Yeah, I haven't. I've heard of them, but you don't hear of them anymore, do you? So, yeah, as you just found out. It was rather a pretty motor with its intake plumbing. It was a piece of work. It was a screamer. It was a high performance thing. Todd Denier, Andy Nickel, wood can be related to cars. Many cars use wood in their construction. Absolutely right. Absolutely right. Jeff Hutchins, welcome along. Finally herded all my customers out of the shop. Barracuda, the doctor said big breasts, and she said yes, and I'm only 16. Oh dear. Old timer Volfly tested a Yamaha SHO back in '89. It went good, but no match for the LX50. Sounds about right. Volfly, no resale red. Well, depends how long you want it red for, really. Volfly, well, a V6 is still just a V6. Yeah. But it was pretty. There you go, you see. Old timer Kiwi, misspelled Adriondack. Okay. New York region, huh? Todd Denier, spruce is the finest. Yeah. Shot up the page again. God damn it. There we go. Todd Denier, spruce is the finest acoustic wood there is. That is what Stradivarius violins were made of. Now, I have heard of Stradivarius violins, and I know enough to know that they're extremely valuable, and the best that there ever was, kind of thing. So it fits. Volfly makes note of spruce flute idea and files it away. There you go. Barracuda pine is what's used for houses in New Zealand. My house dates back to about 1910, made from Remu, still as solid as a rock. Yeah, it would be. Oh, imagine the cost of Barracuda. Imagine the cost of building a house in Remu today. Wow. Yeah, that would add a little bit to the bottom line, wouldn't it? Wow. Jeff Hutchins, Barracuda. I had to read that carefully a second time to get it. Yeah. David Tyree, my house is solid Remu, built in 1947. Yeah. Different era, wasn't it? Different era. They were just soaring down Remu trees as fast as they could find them and milling them. It was immensely popular, but slow growing. I've got a Remu chopping board. Well, I have. Mrs. K does, and she's had that almost as long as she's had me, which is a little while now. So, and yeah, it's not even looking particularly. I mean, it looks a little worn, but it's for 25. Well, how long? Yeah, going on 30 years old. That chopping board, and it really. It's either a statement about how little she cooks or how tough the wood is. So hopefully she's not watching, because she does cook a lot, to be fair. So it's tough stuff. A whole house built in Remu that would be awesome. Rebel with a cause. Hi Kiwi, been stocking up SN95 Mustang parts. Was my favourite Mustang growing up. Are these cars going to ever gain recognition as a classic, or just need a few more years? Doesn't matter to me. Yeah, I think they will. It's just as the decades pass, and I don't when or if we'll see it. But these 60s Mustangs will lose favour. Guys like yourself that grew up, with the SN95s are going to prefer those. And the guys that grew up with the 65 Mustangs will remember when the 65 Mustang was released, the brand new Ford Mustang. The people that remember that love those cars because that's their era. Just like the 30s and 40s cars were loved, but now the market's just nosing over badly for those cars. Even a lot of the 50s cars are nosing over pretty badly because the buying segment of the market, the people coming into the hobby, they like the look of a 57 Chevy or a 40 Ford, but they like them, they can appreciate them, they don't necessarily want to own them. And without buyers, the value of your car, whatever it may be, Ford, Chevy, whatever, it's not what it's about. It's having buyers for them. And I'd like the look of like a chopped 32, like the American Graffiti yellow 32. Those look cool, but do I want one? No, can't really fit in them. They don't drive great. But cool to look at. Go to a car show, I'll definitely pause and have a look at one, but I'm not going to write a check for one. So those cars are becoming worth less and less, and the 60s muscle cars at some point will fade like the 50s cars have, and the 70s and 80s cars will take over because that's the age group of the buyers. Beagle Bob, Roush rebrands the Eaton 2.6-ish blower. Whipple makes a 2.9 or a 3 litre. I've done lots of looking at them, but 9K is a lot of money to turn 400 into 750. Yeah. Honestly, yes, 9Ks for another 350 horse. I think that's not bad. But I mean, it's not bad if you're just talking about a number. It's bad if you're actually writing the check. It's two different things, That's two different things. So, but yeah, to drop 9K and then have to install it and do everything else, because I think 9K is just the kit. So yeah, but I mean, horsepower's expensive, and the higher end, the first 350 is not that expensive, but to add 350 to 400 is a lot more expensive. So yeah. Andy Nickel, different wood respond different to different frequencies, get the difference. Yeah, I guess it has to do with the density of the wood, I imagine. I'm guessing a bit here, but I'm trying to think how it would work. But I imagine the density, because some woods are very light and soft and some are very hard. So what works better, a very hard timber or is it just hard and soft, or is there more to it than that? Am I oversimplifying it? Kind of interesting. I know it's off topic and it's not cars, but still interesting. Super Zoo Panda. It's not a name I remember. You don't see you here all the time, but hey, glad to have you here. 3 years into my dad's C3 frame-off restoration in my two-car garage. I work full-time. How do you keep focus on a project like this? It's tough. It's tough. That's why so many half-finished hot rods are for sale. Go on Marketplace and stuff like that. There's an awful lot of half-finished cars out there, project cars. It is hard. And I've suffered the same issues. But 3 years into a C3 frame-off, 3 years is not as well as working full time. I don't think that's a long time. Frame off is a big deal. And there's it's tough. You do a 40-hour week and probably more. Not many people getting away with just a 40-hour week anymore. And then to come home and like do a second shift in the garage is a bit tough. And then you hit the weekend, and then her indoors has got a honey-do list for you, and just not, and that probably sounds like I'm ragging on women, but there's just things that need doing around the house, the home, other cars. Yeah, it's tough, and it's going to take a while. Todd and I used to be friends with a well-known Lutheran. He made violins and cellos for the symphonic orchestra. Wow. Wow, that's pretty cool. Joseph Sott, TP Cruiser, Turnpike Cruiser. I'd like 63 Chrysler New Yorker 413, TQ 293 gear. Yep, that'd be nice. I do like the Turnpike Cruisers though too. One of the very cool hot rod I saw in a magazine years ago was a 57 Turnpike Cruiser station wagon, but a two-door hardtop. So no B pillar. Had the A pillar and the C pillar and the D pillar being the wagon, but no B pillar. So it was a two-door, frameless windows on the door. So the little bit lower roof line of the, so it was the same height roof as a two-door hardtop. It was basically a two-door hardtop wagon. Gorgeous car. But then, admittedly, I do have a little bit of a thing for station wagons. So, Jeff Hutchins, got to say the 96-ish era Taurus was a good-looking car. Don't like any of the others. 96. Whenever I hear the word Taurus, I always think of that real round, blobby, Taurus that was, to my mind, ugly as sin. But I think that was an 80s. Or no, not, it probably wasn't actually. I don't know what year it is. But they did make some ugly Tauruses. Old timer Andy, I know where some huge spruce are growing here in New Hampshire. I just like the idea that a guitar was made from wood I harvested and supplied. Curly maple, spruce, ash, whatever. Yeah, I can see that. Todd denied luthier, not Lutheran. Luthier. What's a luthier, Todd? I'm familiar with Lutheran, but not luthier. Barry Cooter, #1 commenter. Good on you, man. The old New Zealand houses tended to have Oregon Irish pine for the window frames and sills. Okay, didn't know that. Rebel Withercores. Taurus is so underrated. Oh, okay, we got a Taurus lover in the house. Jeff Hutchins, that Polystroker is an interesting engine. Looking forward to seeing it run. You and me both, mate. You and me both. I've got the twin 4-barrel manifold, got the carbs. We're going to be running like 9.5 to 1 compression. Little, very mild cam. Just, maybe like an RV. They don't know that they make an RV cam for a poly, but that kind of thing, more torque, more mid-range than revs. I just want Marge to, I want to be cruising down the interstate at 65, 70, and if I want to pass someone, to put my foot down and she'll answer, and accelerate. I don't mean like spin the wheels, accelerate, but not like the way she was. You put your foot down and then you just waited. She'd get there, she'd pick up speed, but it was not in a hurry. Didn't really accelerate as gained some momentum was probably more accurate. Accelerate would be a little generous, I feel. But I mean, to be fair to that 318 poly, she was probably, I think they were 230 stock. If memory serves me, and I would say Marge was down to optimistically 150 because she was 7.5 at best cylinders. And worn, tired, choked up, carboned up, bunged up, you name it. It was that was a very tired engine. Driveway of misfits. Lots of different species of pine here in the US, some with appreciably different characteristics. Okay. I don't know what type of pine we have in New Zealand. I know we have a lot of it. A lot of forestries around New Zealand because good growing country. New Zealand is the soil in New Zealand is very, very rich because it's so volcanic. So shit grows fast in New Zealand. Right. Charles Dalton, calling it a night. Good hanging out with you all. Have a great week, Chuck. Thanks for dropping in, man. Always good to have you here. Andy Nickel, your work would be so much better if it weren't for all those pesky customers. Yes. Yes, indeed. Beagle Bob, hit the button too many times. God damn it. Yeah, where would it go? Wow, I've got a wee bit behind here. Granddad's Junk's in the house. Welcome along. Jeez, I'm way behind. Wow. Yeah, I'm way behind. I have to hurry up. Without a cause, do you have an SN95? No, not me. Oh, no, it's Beagle Bob asking. Sorry, didn't read that properly. Volfly, most Tauruses are crap until they employed Yamaha to make a proper motor. Shit. But Yamaha did some nice engine work. They really did. Then it blew up transmissions. Well, you're going to feed it horsepower. Something's going to give, isn't it? Whole time, LOL. Adirondack. Adiron, is that how you pronounce it? Adirondack, Kiwi. Okay, wouldn't it? Yeah, okay, that makes sense. Now I read it the way you explain it. Yeah, okay. Adirondack. Chris Freemus of Volfly, IIRC Ford redesigned the trans for the 91 model year and they started blowing up then. Oh, good Lord. Rebel with a cause. Oh, he's got a beautiful new Edge. Oh, Ford Edge. And a 94 I'm building my 13-year-old. Oh, cool. That's a good thing to be doing. Get them into cars early on. Very good. Volfly, the manual transmissions were always abused. Oh, yeah, undoubtedly. Barracuda, maybe I should pull the house apart, sell the Remo, and build a bigger house. Yeah, I don't know that would be profitable. But if the house ever gets too far gone, you'll certainly be able to recycle the wood. There'll be a big market for recycling it. Granddad's junk. Yep, you're in the house. Good on you, man. My wife's been admiring that lovely piece of Remo you sent. So she's got it all wrapped up and ready to carry home on Thursday. She leaves to come back to the States. So it will be, all being well, none of the customs guys get upset about it. It should be stateside by Friday night, American time. Wildfly. Oh, I forgot. Kiwi. How did the heater core on the Fiero job go? Was there a lot of cussing? No, there really wasn't. It wasn't bad. I found a video, and I'm going to put a link to it when we do the video on this one, because the guy did a really good video on it. One, it was just easy to follow. I usually find, it takes a while to sift through all the videos about the same subject, whatever it might be, to find someone that talks the same language, so to speak, or talks in a way that I can understand. So I got Steve to watch the video, and it's it really wasn't too bad. I've done much harder heater cores. It really wasn't bad. It really wasn't bad. Really, not a lot of cussing, no. 2 hose clamps under the hood. You had to take a little washer tank out of the way. Was hiding the hose clamps for the that held the rubber hoses onto the core. So yeah, move a little water tank, undo a couple of hose clamps. I don't know, a dozen screws under the dash. Taking a couple of little things out of the way under the glove box, and out it came. Steve had it done in probably 3 hours, which I didn't think was too bad. Probably less than that, actually. Yeah, it was. It was only, yeah, it was probably, I think he was probably 2 hours. And, you know, first time we'd ever done one. So, or either of us had ever done one. So next time it'll be, you know, because he was stopping, you know, watch a bit more of the video, do a bit more, watch a bit more of the video. So it wasn't lightning pace, but, you know, it was, no cock-ups were made on that exercise, which was good. So, yeah, no cussing. Old times. Speaking of house building material, my house was first hewn out of trees sometime in the late 1770s or very early 1780s. White oak beams and white pine boards. The addition was built in the 1840s. Wow. Very cool. Wow, that's yeah, amazing. That's amazing. Still standing. They just built them well back then, though, didn't they? The holes, Kiwi. Have you ever had a close look up close at Dodge Viper and a D Tomatsu Pantera? Not the Viper, but yes, the Pantera. Yep. Pantera is a pretty cool car. Nice bit of kit. Well put together. Which, you know, like this, they're worth a bit of money. And I can see why. Pretty desirable. You know, be a nice car to own. Volflight, I changed the oil in the Viper once, never again. Really? Joseph's site wasn't the 64 Mustang, was. Yes, they were. Yeah, that's a kind of bonus. The 64.5 Mustang was really, they were all sold as 65s. Like most cars, you know, if it was a 68 car, that, you know, they were being made in 67s, but sold as 68s, whatever the year might be. They don't start making the cars on January 1 of that given year. You know, they're ahead of the game, which is why some were 64.5. But if you look at the titles on any of them, they're all 65s. While they were made in 64, they're technically a 65. So yeah, it's kind of it's a Mustang thing. But really what I was referring was to that, you know, those first gen Mustangs, like 61, 64 through 68, you know, those first gen Mustangs, that mid 60s Mustang. You know, I do believe they will lose favor given time, because people are going, oh, they were pretty cool, those old things, but yeah, I don't want one of those. That attitude is, I believe, going to come along. Volfly sits too low. Okay. Don't deny Granddad's James, about time you got here, we're starting to get worried about it. Yeah, it gets past 8:30. We're like, where is he? Where is he? Old timer, Christ Almighty, it's 9:23. A full 2 hours past my bedtime. Good night, all. God bless. Yeah, it's ticking by. It's ticking by. Jeff Hutchins, my friend, had a Curly Maple custom stock on a pre-64 Winchester model. Good Lord, it's a gun. It broke in half through the wrist while sitting in the gun safe. Good Lord, really? That's a bit weird, isn't it? Granddad's show. They call me One Nail Tony. Pretty rough and ready. One Nail Tony. Oh, what a nickname. Driveway of Misfits, Jeff Hutchins. Wood can often have stresses in it that can suddenly release under certain conditions, causing splits like that. Huh. Rebel with a cause. Crap, you're talking music and instruments. Hell yeah, there you go. It's not all cars. We're not all one dimensional. Well, some of us are, but yeah, not all of us are one dimensional and just only like cars. Beagle Bob, when I consider that you can pick up a 5th gen Camaro for about the same price as a supercharger for one of my pickup trucks, well, we all know how that turned out. Yeah, it's you make a very good point. What you can buy cars for now. And I'll tell you a story. I'm going to do a short on it. It was yesterday. I think it was yesterday. The towing company that uses the yard down the back of my shop. I saw the 2 of their trucks come whistling in, each with a Tesla on the back. No accident damage, just 2 Teslas. I thought that's odd, but yeah, okay. One looked quite nice. One looked like a bit dirty. Yeah, it looked like it had been sat a little bit. The other one looked really quite nice. So I was down the yard getting some stuff from my storage box down there, and they were still unloading them. I said, "What's the deal with the Teslas? Are you collecting them?" And they went, "Oh, no. They just picked them up. They had been abandoned at the dealership, at the Tesla dealership. They were a 2015 and a 2012 Teslas. Not the little skinny narrow track ones, the sexier looking wider ones. I don't know the numbers, and I don't really intend to brush up on what their models are. But yeah, nice looking cars, no accident damage, no nothing. Batteries had died, and it was 18 grand plus tax plus installation for new ones. So the customers, had them taken to the Tesla dealership to fix it. Got given the estimate and said no thanks, and never came back. So the tow truck company was asked to tow them off, and they are heading to the scrapyard. 2 nice looking cars. So there used to be a time when like going around junkyards and towing yards and stuff like that, you'd see some cool old abandoned vehicles, but the Tesla's neither cool nor old. So not sure what that says about the carbon footprint of a Tesla, the 10-year-old one, or 11, okay, it's 2026. 11-year-old Tesla is just dead and not worth repairing. So, yeah. So, yeah, 9 grand supercharger, I guess, does seem like a lot of money, Beagle. Jeff Hutchins, I don't think true 60s, early 70s muscle cars will ever die. Every age group likes them, and not enough of them to go around. Okay. I'm not as confident as you are. Time will tell. I'm not saying you're wrong and I'm right. I guess I am in a way, but I'm not trying to be argumentative. I mean, part of me kind of agrees with you, and part of me thinks, wonder if that's right. The vibe I get from the customers and the change I've seen in customers in the last 10 years is interesting. So time will tell. Joseph Sott, the 60s Sunbeam 289 sports car. Well, yes, topical, isn't it? Now, where are we up to here? Super Zoo Panda, welcome to Kiwi's Clay. Oh, you joined, you remember. Well done. Welcome on board, sir. Great to have you along. Thanks, man. It all helps. That's awesome. We're talking about guns now. Todd denies building a 45 cal muzzle loader Isaac Haynes rifle kit. Okay. Andy Nickel, I'm a luthier. Okay, so that's like a guitar builder / repairer, or is that the same thing? Rebel with a Cause, that bubble mid-90s Taurus. Yeah, they were not pretty cars. Not pretty at all. Josh Home and I encounter that same frustration sometimes when I cut wood for a project. Sometimes it splits to a point where it becomes unusable. Yeah, it's quite a lot of different issues with wood. Interesting. Rebel with a Called love that bubble mid-90s Taurus. There you go. We're all different, and you got to celebrate it. Like you got it. That's you like what you like, and it's all good. You're not wrong, just different. Granddad's junk sounds good, brother. Spring is there. Must be getting. It is getting warmer. We've been in the 70s all week. It's nice actually. Todd and I, luthier is a maker of wooden string instruments. Okay, to be exact. Yeah, it just sounds very similar to Lutheran, isn't it? Yet, absolutely no connection really at all. I guess you could be a luthier that is a Lutheran. But other than that, yeah. Firefly, he's not a liar. Jeez. Barracuda, aren't those Fast and Furious movies aimed at the younger people? No shortage of muscle cars in those too. Good point. Good point. Yep, I can't argue that. Yeah, you're right. Chargers and all sorts of muscle cars in those. But also, how long have those Fast and Furious movies been around? Like, when did the first Fast and Furious movie come out? 30 odd years ago, I'm going to say 25. Has to have been 25 years ago. Someone Google it and tell us the answer to that. When did the first Fast and Furious movie come out? I know Vin Diesel looked a lot younger. Firefly. Yeah, I'm with you, brother. F and F movies would just make me break out in a rash. I agree. I cannot do those movies. They're just atrocious. But this is the whole thing, isn't it? We're all different. They sell a lot of movie tickets. It's a very popular franchise. Yeah, very popular franchise. What you gonna do? There you go. Wow, I got way behind. Yeah. Barracuda, fast and frivolous. That's true. Joseph Sott, Kiwi, remember high test at 39 cents a gallon? High test? I don't remember high test, no. I can remember gas being 39 cents a litre, but not a gallon. But then I was in New Zealand, so Barracuda, we didn't get high test in New Zealand, just super and regular. Oh, high test was a higher grade of gas. Volfly, I like getting the Fast and Furious movie watchers to take a gander at 1982's The Thing. They are just never the same after that. Oh, Lord. Oh, dear. Super Zoo Panda. Well, thanks for becoming a member, mate. I appreciate you. My girlfriend and I pulled the body with an engine hoist and sent the frame and steering and parts and rear to be blasted and rebuilt. Fast forward, body is back on, but we went the Edelbrock EFI and stopped. Nice. Okay. Should be good. Wiring, Edelbrock EFI and wiring harness. Okay. Yeah, I'm with you. Jeff Hutchins. Okay, not a 96 Taurus. That's the hideous one. 92, 95 SHO is the one. I'll have to go and have a look. I can't say a picture's springing to mind, but it's all right. Barracuda. By the way, they say if our fuel supply was disrupted, we'd have enough for 2 weeks. Oh, imagine that. Yeah, there'd be some panic buying then, wouldn't there? Joseph Sott. Steve still have the old. Yes, he does. Yeah, I think he'll have to die for that to change hands. He loves that car, and honestly, I get it. It's a very, very cool car, and a lovely car to ride in. I mean, that is just it rides so nice. Even though it's super low, it still rides beautiful. Jeff Hutchins, they sold 1.4 million second-gen Tourai. You sure don't see them anymore. Wow, considering how many they sold, no, I guess they're all long since crushed. Barracuda, English woman told me her parents' house is over 500 years old. Oh, yeah, I well believe that. There's some old, we went to France a few years back, and some of the old churches and stuff like that there were like from the 800s, like 874, the year 874, and it's like, holy moly, that's old. Granddad's junk. Pinus radiata has a high sugar content, good for making fuel. Really? Huh. David Tyree, try a heater core on a 280ZX. When you've got the core out, all you can see in the car is windscreen and firewall. Oh, wow. Yeah, no, that little Pontiac was nothing like that. There's a little speaker you got to take out on the dash, and there's a little subwoofer thing under the dash that you've got to take out. Then there's 4 screws in the kind of side of the heater box. You undo those 4 screws, pop it out, and you pop this kind of cap off the end of the heater box with the 4 screws undone. Then a couple of clips. The heater core just slides out like straight backwards towards the back of the car. Slot your new one in like a cassette sort of thing, and like a vertical cassette, shall we say, and put it back together. Put the screws back in, subwoofer back in, speaker back in, and reconnect the hoses, 2 hoses, obviously. Screw the washer liquid reservoir back into place. Job done. The bigger challenge is getting the system burped again, because the radiator's at one end of the car and the engine's at the other end. So you've got a lot of plumbing and a lot of places for air bubbles to hide and get stuck. So, yeah, it really wasn't bad. When we first realised, it's like, oh my God, like this is going to be terrible. And then, a few comments other people made was like, oh. And, like it briefly crossed my mind. It's like, man, I wonder if I should just say to you, hey, sorry, we didn't sign up for this. You've got a leaking heater core. You need to find someone to fix it. But say, watched a YouTube video and thought, hang on, this isn't so bad. There you go. But I was thinking it was going to be more like a 280ZX from the way you described it, but it wasn't. Hey, we got 4 minutes to go, guys. I need to skim through this stuff quickly. Barracuda, I once heard a fellow Yank say his house was old. An Englishman replied that he has doorknobs in his house older than our country. He might have been telling the truth. Barracuda, I like cars and dirt bikes. I'm quite diverse. Yeah, exactly. Todd Denier, I never want to see another 280Z heater core as long as. Yeah, no. Pulling the worst thing about pulling dashes out that far to get at heater cores is getting it back together with no new rattles, or even if there's old rattles, because people will say, "Oh, that rattle wasn't there before." They're just a breeding ground for rattles dashboards. Volfly, the first thing I'd do to a Tesla is chop off the Wi-Fi antennas so it can't update. Yeah, you might be right there. Jeff Hutchins, the Model S is the wide one. Yeah, that could well be what they were. I know, whenever I follow one of the little skinny ones, I always think, why did they build it like that? It looks so tall and top heavy, and yet the S is quite... I'm not a Tesla fan, but that Model S, the same one I'm thinking of, is quite a sexy car for a four-door sedan, late model, Okay. Welcome to the car channel, Barracuda. Today we're talking about thatched roofs and how waterproof they are. I have no clue. I guess it depends how long and how heavy it's raining for, isn't it? Jeff Hutchins, I hope I live long enough for muscle cars to be uncool. Maybe I could afford one. Well, that will be the upside. As they become less in demand, the price will come down. And I do believe that's what's going to happen. So we will see. The Holes, Kiwi. The other car to have is the Alfa Romeo Montreal or the Lancia Stratos. Yeah, you got me there on the Stratos. Yeah, I can't argue that. Not the most reliable car ever, but sexy as all get out. Granddad's junk. Barracuda, they are very dry. Plenty of thatched roofs in Bolivia. It's pretty rainy there, isn't it? Kind of a tropical rainforest kind of climate, isn't it? Uh, yeah. What is Bolivia? It's a country in South America. Andy Nicol, I'm definitely not a Lutheran. uh, Granddad's junk. All those 10-second plastic cars finish up with ripple effect on the panels. Oh no. There you go, Jeff Hutchins, 2001, first Fast and Furious, I believe. Still making them, but they just keep getting dumber. Hard to believe, isn't it? I think as a society, we may well be getting dumber by the decade. But yeah, so they're 25 years old, Fast and Furious. So they certainly had some muscle cars in the first one. That wheel standing silly Dodge Charger, which I saw one time at Universal Studios. They had it at Universal Studios. And what a dog it was. Man, it didn't look anywhere near as good in real life as it did on the movie. It was rough, rough. I mean, I don't mean like Concourse hot rod shop rough. It was anybody's language. It was rough. Um, I mean, I think some of the charges they jumped at in the Dukes of Hazzard were in better shape than that one off Fast and Furious. Firefly just have to use a Ricardo Montalban accent. I remember that guy. What was that show he was in? The plane, Fantasy Island. Brandon's Junk in the Amazon basin in Bolivia. It's beautiful. Spent a month there. Wow. Barracuda, what level IQ are the Fast and Furious movies aimed at? NOS IQ, there you go. That's a good question. Um, I mean, those 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 among us who are more IQ challenged deserve to have movies they enjoy just as much as the rest of us, don't they? So you know, I guess that's why they're still making them. Joseph Sott, you and Steve are old school. Yeah, mate, we are. We are, and proud of it. Jeff Hutchins, very cute. A double-digit IQ. My favourite is when the fired a torpedo on the ice and it just took off like a rocket. The laws of fluid dynamics need not apply. No, exactly. Oh, yeah. I've saw bits of the first one and then no more. No more. Josh Homan, most American movies from the past 4 decades are no better. Oh, well, I guess, yeah. Yeah, most. I don't know. That might be a little harsh. There have been some very, very good ones, but I mean, that doesn't mean most, does it? No. So, yeah. Barracuda, I find it frightening that they're hardcore fans of those movies. Oh, and the hardcore fans are hardcore fans. Um, but, they probably look at some other movies like the Rocky Horror Picture Show, and you talk about hardcore fans. Have you ever been to a showing in recent times of a showing of a Rocky Horror Picture Show? People get so into that. It's wild. It's quite entertaining. Well, much more entertaining than Fast and Furious, but hey. George and I quit watching Fast and Furious after the first one. What episode are they up to now? 27. Yeah, I only made it bits of the first one and I was out. David Tyree, John Wayne, Robert Mitchum, proper movies. Oh, now you're showing your age, mate. Now you're showing your age. Um, Well, it's 9:05 and I'm still not catching up. All right, fellas. Well, Todd and I have off. Like, turn that off. There are youngsters around that don't need to see what Kiwi is doing. Offline make shadow puppets. Now that'll be entertaining. Well, team, I'm about out of bourbon, and I'm about out of time to keeping my eyes open. I've been charging hard on that little sunbeam. So yeah, the hours are catching up on me. My neck's catching up on me. So thanks all of you for being here. Thanks for all the likes. Thanks to the new member. And yeah, it's been a great night as always. 2 hours gone just like that. And yeah, good to hear from you guys. And I guess we will meet here, reconvene here next Tuesday, 7 p.m. All right, guys, well, have a good one. Get out there and work on your cars a bit now that it's warming up. Get some stuff done. Have some fun. And see you next week. Take it easy.